My name is Dries Schuwer, working for the Water Board District Rijnlanden as strategic advisor, water and spatial planning. Here you see the area of the Green Heart within the cities of Amsterdam, Utrecht, Den Haag. And if we look at the Green Heart, then land subsidence is an important issue. Mainly if we build in a traditional way, we see that on the long term, we see high maintenance costs. Well, how does it look like in practice? At the left, you see the damage which occurs by land subsidence, especially in the public space, so the streets, parking spaces. And at the right side, you can see inundation as a result of extreme rainfall. This is the consequence if we build in a traditional way, and we still do this. So what might be the solution? At the left side, you've seen the typical Green Heart. At the right side, you could see a possible solution if we build in a floating way. So not only the houses itself, but also the infrastructure. And we already came up with the concept of Venetia, which we developed a few years ago together with the province and the municipality of Woerden. And now within the next few years, we want to make the next step. We want to go from concept to reality. And what are the main research questions then? Now, the first one is mainly governance questions. How do we find a suitable location? The second one is really important at the moment. If we find a location, how do we create an integral design, not only taking into account the house itself, but also the floating roads, pavement, parking spaces, and gardens. And I think the third one is quite similar to other cases, also the case of Amsterdam. So how do we combine it with water quality and also ecology? Thank you, Christian.
Thank you. Good afternoon. I'm Jorik van Heijden. I work at the Port of Rotterdam Authority. I'm also presenting a small part for VOBAC because Wim van der Zon is not here, so we'll really try to squeeze it into these 2 minutes. Some facts about the Port of Rotterdam, largest port in Europe. Everyone knows that. 42 kilometers from the city of Rotterdam to the outer parts of Maasvlakte 2. Which is quite a distance. A lot of delegation to visit Rotterdam. They always want to visit the Maasvlakte as well, and then they understand the distance between everything. So we are really working on different skill levels. On the other hand, city development, but also still new port development here. Important thing to know is that this has always been developed like with the sense of no limits to port development, and you see now that in recent years it has come to a standstill. But we also have a big transition to put in the port area. So you see these 4 pillars. I'm not going into detail for everyone, but all 4 of them at one point need to have a place in the port area. And then we have also some goals to reduce CO2 emission, for example, in a few years. And then you see that there are coming major challenges to the Port of Rotterdam. So we really try to do something about this and really work together with a lot of. Do I have 30 seconds left, or just picture? Okay. How are you? You can do that up later. But the thing is that the port in 2050 really needs to go through this transition, because a lot of the products in the port area, they will all stay more or less the same, but the source or the feedstock will change. So now we have refineries, fossil fuels, and we hope to have biorefineries in the future, together with I thought the VOBAC slide was here. I'll skip this. So together with VOBAC, who's also very interested in how to store energy in a floating way. The thing is that with all these developments in the port area, we are really having overlapping timelines. To not get to a standstill in these developments, we really need something to put on play, press play again. And I hope that a floating solution might be an enabler to really get this going. Because if everything happens at once, we are really running out of space in the port area. And I'm running out of time, so I won't speak.
Thank you.
Okay, well, I'm Vera Bouwman. I'm working at the municipality of Rotterdam and also part of the consortium of Floating Future. And we think we need to define. That's what the message of Rotterdam is. Yes, we made an atlas for the inner city New Maze, Nieuwe Maas. And you can see it as a spatial planning document. So it's quite unique. And it's the first time that we ordered our water in the city. And we're working now on an atlas for the other river, the Rotte, very important river, and also for the Schie. So we're very ambitious. But we have already a lot of experiences in Rotterdam with floating pavilion, floating villages, a floating office with a climate adaptation center of the UN, a floating farm. So we are very, we can't wait to use all these experiences to make another step. And in our water atlas, we also called this small neighborhood, floating neighborhood in Merwevierhaven, part of Rotterdam, former harbor area. And we are going to develop that in the next decades. So there's space for a floating neighborhood. Oh, but these stepping stones and all these experiences, we need to go for a larger scale, and therefore we have some questions. I wrote it down. I see those experiences. Okay, I'm sorry. How can we build Paris proof on water, and what do we need for that? And what does nature inclusive development mean in this context? Okay, thank you for your attention.
Okay, thank you. Good afternoon, everybody, and thank you for giving us the opportunity to present this. My contribution, I'm working for RVO, you see, Netherlands Enterprise Agency, and the case we are working on is enabling and stimulating multi-use in Dutch medegebruik in combination with other blue economy activities, specifically in wind farms in the North Sea. What's the problem now? The space in, I think most of you know that space in the North Sea is very limited. And because the North Sea is not very deep, the challenges are legion in the North Sea. Multi-use, medegebruik, and especially for startups, is really complex and costs a lot of money and cannot be developed independently. And also some blue economies like fisheries find themselves in a lot of problems. So we came with a solution, combining the services and infrastructure together to help develop it in a business case. Next slide, please. Where does it happen? In the North Sea and specifically within farms in accordance with current spatial policy. And we are thinking about Borselen, wind farm Borselen and Hollandse Kust Zuid. Next slide, please. Why is it important? Well, with this, we want to stimulate sustainable economy activities, and with that, strengthen the Dutch and European competitiveness and strengthen EU industrial strategy and the EU Green Deal. Next slide, please. And how are we going to solve it? We are developing an entity that acts as an incubator and facilitator of services and infrastructure that can be used by more than one economic sector. And by doing that, that means a cost reduction by this synergy of these severals. When? Well, it depends on the results of research and decision making, but now our horizon is 2030, 2035.
big one is advanced, the small one is back. I'm Franco Montano, and I'm working at the engineering firm of the city of Amsterdam as a technical manager, hydraulic and civil engineering projects. Why a floating growing island? Because climate changes and will also hit Amsterdam hard, which means that probably part of the city can be flooded and definitively flooded. The city needs, for that reason, practicing with floating structures to keep enough in the future. Another reason why a floating growing island is that the city has to move floating houses, which means that a new area has to be founded and designed. And the area has to, be designed in according to the standards of the city. We have not, at this moment, we have not an area in Amsterdam that is all designated as a floating district, only a fictional area. But the research question is how we can combine the final goal, so long term and short term goal with the morning peers, because combining the two goals can make the investment of the city smaller, and can keep the attraction of it, keep the attention of the city more new development. Finally, all the aspects that already all named in all the presentations and that are still important also for you have to have time. Sorry. Oh, okay. The legal aspects, ecology and nature, up and on and underwater, how we can create habitats for water plants and animals under the floating structures, and what is the effects of the light and the shadow on the underwater life.